Alright, what's up guys? We're back to Canada, back to the motherland, and today I'm going to answer some questions that I got on the Skool group, Storm Academy. Really successful launch last week. We got almost 60 members already joined there. We do weekly calls. We do a bunch of cool stuff. You have free courses in there that you can access, mostly oriented towards like mental performance and stuff right now. So it's been, really cool to see that grow, and hopefully, we get to help more and more people as we keep going forward. But I'm really, really excited about this project and just wanted to share this as we start the video. But I got 3 questions from the Q&A that I want to answer. The first one being, what is the biggest velocity killer? I was kind of thinking about how to answer this question, and I guess the best way to answer that question would probably be the thing that takes the most energy away from the thing you're trying to focus on. In this case, probably baseball or pitching. So depending on your situation, depending on, what's going on in your life, there's different things that are gonna be stressors. There's certain things that you're gonna have to handle that are gonna take energy away from you to do the things that you wanna do. So some people might be, handling a relationship that's not very, productive or working too well. But for some other people, they might struggle to like have food on the table every night. So that might be the thing that's the biggest velo killer. That's kind of my way of putting it. I would not ever say that something is the biggest velo killer for everybody. But I would say look at what consumes the most energy in your life and look at whether this is productive and this is going towards your goals or not. And if it's not, then see how you can change that so that it, betters and helps you out better and moving closer to your goals. The second question is, how can we stay competitive off the field while also looking for growth in other aspects of life? Well, I think you kind of answer the question there, while also looking for growth in other aspects of life. So how do you stay competitive off the field? I don't like the word competitive because it kind of doesn't, doesn't really specify what that means. But I think if you look for growth in other aspects of life, then you will remain relevant and you will, better yourself as a whole, as opposed to just like thriving to do one thing and not giving a fuck about everything else. So look into yourself and figure out what kind of person you want to be. Who do you want to become? And then align yourself and your actions with that. And that will allow you to feel good about yourself, and not just about the, baseball or pitching, but about everything else that you do in life that has a correlation to your success or your failures or your process in general. You got to look for growth. You got to look to gratify yourself and to associate your self-worth with things that are beyond just baseball or sport, whatever activity you're doing, and look into like, how am I with my friends? How am I with my family? How do I respond when there's conflict? Things like that. Things like this, to me, define a person much better than their ability to perform a sport. The third and last question, what kind of approach should you have when you have runners in scoring position? And in parenthesis says pitch selection. So I want to talk about this a little bit. So when you face a hitter, the way you structure your plan should be going through 3 things. The first one being, what are your strengths? The second one, what is the situation? And the third one being the hitter's weaknesses. So having runners in scoring position, first thing that you do is, what are my strengths? All right, so if I'm a guy that has cut ride and a big curveball, I'm gonna live at the top of the zone and I'm gonna bury the curveball to try and get swings and misses. All right, this is what I do. So this is how I succeed. This is like my signature. So this should be kind of like your approach. You shouldn't wanna get away from what you're already good at. Then you go towards the situation. Well, what do you not wanna do when you get into situation with guys on? Well, you don't want them to score, so you need strikeouts. So how would you attack a hitter, according to your strengths to get strikeouts? And then you look at the hitter's weaknesses based on your scouting report and the level at which you play will kind of dictate this kind of report. You know, if you play at a very high level, you're going to have a lot of information, and if you play at not so very high level, you might have little to no information. So again, you have to rely on like your strengths and the situation, and then, okay, this hitter is very bad on inside fastballs. Okay, well then, if I'm good at top of the zone, I'm going to go up and in, and you know, then you go on from there. You see what he does and how he reacts to, you know, the first pitches of the AB, and then you move forward with your plan. But again, every hitter you face should go through that process. 1, what are my strengths? 2, what's the situation? 3, what's the hitter's weaknesses? And then put all that together, attack the hitter, do that. So this is the Q&A. I'm gonna get some throwing in. Ouch. Something like that. All right, peace.